Hi. I'm here to review Gintama chapter 574, and so I just got done reading the chapter, and I was kind of like wrestling with my feelings on like what I thought about the arc, and I think this is kind of like the last straw for me, basically. So basically, if you guys don't know or not really in the loop about it, there's the Gintama fan base, at least the ones that I'm a part of, have sort of kind of like divided down the middle after reading or well, how should I say this? It's not like the Gintama fan base has split, kind of, but at least the ones that I'm a part of, there's sort of been like this big like rift after the Shogun assassination arc finished, particularly with us that's read the manga. So like the content after that really has not really, at least to some of us, has not really been as great or really good. And I don't want to say like I exactly think like that, but I have had my problems with the arc, and as of late, I think I've just said like fuck it. I'm not a fan of this arc, at least right now. Um, but I guess I guess the best way for so this is gonna kind of be like a mini rant, mid arc review, chapter review, whatever you want to call it. But and I wouldn't even really call it a rant because I'm not gonna go like ballistic. At least I don't think so. But um, base how should I start it? I guess I can summarize the chapter. So with the chapter, I can basically summarize it as Kagura stops Kamui, they fight, and then Utsuro comes in and starts to fight Umibozu. That's basically the bare bones of it. But I didn't really like the chapter despite that, like because see, here's my thing, right? The arc started off with the three four well yeah the three main well besides Takasugi, the three main Joey Patriots fighting the Harusame officers, right? And so I wasn't really a fan of that. I mean, I liked Katsuro's fight. I did like Katsuro's fight, but what's his name? The Hankai, I think his name Neptune Hankai, the one that Sakamoto fought, and then Pluto Bato that Gintoki fought. Those two fights were not very good in my opinion. I always say it's my opinion. It's just my opinion. I wasn't really invested with them. I didn't think they were that good. So because it's like pretty much like an all-out battle arc at this point. I was hoping that Kamui versus Umibozu or Umibozu versus Utsuro, which is going to happen next chapter, might save it. But I don't know if I have faith for that because there's just been so many things about this arc that has disappointed me. Like I said, when the Katsura stuff started, I liked that stuff. And I didn't mind the Utsuro stuff, and I still don't mind the Utsuro stuff. It's not Utsuro. It's just like this arc. Like when I separate it from the others, and I just like when I analyze it and when I try to compare it to the other arcs, I just don't think it's not Gintama. Like I don't think it's Gintama. I'm not feeling anything. The humor isn't as good. It's kind of generic, really. Like when Gintoki and Takasugi like they destroyed like that little cannon that Utsuro sent down to like you know what I'm talking about, like those little cannons. And there was this one part where like Gintoki and Takasugi like they blow it up, and then they're not looking at the explosion. So like it was like that whole generic trope of like cool guys don't look at the explosions. And like that's all I thought of when I saw that. Like even with the dialogue, like the dialogue wasn't that snappy either, at least in my opinion. So but yeah, I guess let me talk about the chapter first, and then we'll go into that stuff. Um, basically, yeah. So I summarized it, very bare bones like, but um, the two problems that I had with this was that Kamui, first of all, Kagura got some sort of like she's apparently on Kamui's level despite having stalemated like an injured Kamui in the Shogun assassination arc, right? Which I don't know how that makes any sense. Like all of a sudden, like she's strong enough to fight Kamui. Doesn't feel very Gintama at all. And again, Gintama's not about the power levels. It's not like Dragon Ball, Hakusho, Fist of North Star. It's not like those sort of series, right? But it just feels, and I hate to say this. I really like it kills me to say this, but it just feels so. And to quote Velez, if you're watching, to quote you, it feels so fairy tale-esque. Like I don't want to say, I really don't want to say that, but that's what it feels like. And so like when I was reading that whole thing, that was my problem with that. Well, that was the first problem. The second problem I had much more of a bigger problem with, and that was Kagura telling Kamui that he was the one that was hurting all this time. Oh man, oh my god, if there is one thing that I never thought that I would see in Gintama, it was one of those types of characters, right? I mean, you sort of already had it in Takasugi, like, oh, he lost Shoyo, he was taking it on all out on the world, whatever. Okay, fine, I can get behind that, but with Kamui, where he openly like disowns his family, when he's so single-mindedly like focused on getting more powerful, like calling bonds weaknesses. Like, you don't, like, here's the thing, right? I would be okay with that, like, if Kamui had a similar reaction, when his mother died, right? When his mother died, if Kamui had, like, a similar reaction to that, like what Takasugi had with Shoyo, but he didn't. He was already going, like, crazy when he was fighting Umibozu, when he took off his arm. Like, he's not, I know it's happened already in this chapter, but he is not that type of character. Like, that should not have happened. Though, like, I thought I was reading Naruto when I saw that. Like, God, oh my goodness, oh my god. I sighed. Like, I deflated, because that is the one thing that should not have happened to Kami's character, in my opinion. Not that. I mean, you can make him emotional, but not that. That should not have been the subject. That should not have been like what hit, like, oh my god. Like Kagura telling, like, oh, you're the one hurting all this time. You haven't gotten any stronger since you left mommy. It's just, what are you talking? I know she's speaking metaphorically, but, like, come on, like, there's, oh man. And it's not like I'm holding Sorachi to, like, this grand standard. It's just like, that doesn't feel, that's not Gintama to me. Like, that doesn't, that's not the resolution that's something that I would expect out of, like, not to say these series are bad, but it's just something that I would have expected, like, out of a Naruto or, like, a fairy tale or something like that, right? And I know people have problems with those series. I don't really criticize it, even though I do have my problems, which I haven't really voiced on this channel or, like, in any other video. But I would expect to see, like, that sort of, like, in my opinion, forced drama from those types of series. The one thing Gintama has always been good at is, like, not forcing emotional content down your throat like some of these other shonen series are doing. That's why it's been, like, one of my favorites, because it doesn't go out of its way to make things emotional, right? And of course, I have my problems here and there with some of the different speeches. Maybe some of the life lessons that they try to teach aren't very important, or they're just not that impactful. And that happens with, like, anything that you read or watch or play or whatever, right? But, like, this is, like, one of the most generic things that you can think of. Like, are you kidding me? Like, oh my god, man. The worst part is now, like Ibrahim, like, who hates Kamui, and I'm sure, like, most of you probably don't even know who that is, but, like, he's this guy that I talk to. Some of the other people know him. Like, now this just gives him more, in my opinion, more ammo to, like, to fuel the fire. Like, oh, like, he's, like, this bad character, because, and he isn't, but that is just, like, that is a big no. That should not have happened with this character. Of course, I gotta wait to see like what the later chapters are, like, what they're gonna do with this character. If they're gonna develop that, how they're gonna explain it, we'll see. But, like, those two things, like, they broke the camel's back for me. Like, now I don't want to say I'm on the hate train for the arc, because I do still think that there are some good things that Sorachi has done with the arc. But, like, some of the stuff is just, like, uninteresting, generic, and just not very good in my opinion. So now we'll go into, like, sort of, like, the arc review part, mid-arc review. Now, of course, Yumi Bozu versus Usuro still has to happen, which is probably what we're going to get next, which is definitely what we're going to get next chapter, by the looks of it, at least. But I pretty much, One sec. I'm on Facebook. I made like a. One sec. Sorry, I'm just I had like some notes here and I can't like pick it up. Shit. Where the fuck is it? Okay, there it is. All right. So I pretty much like did like a short like outline of the arc where I pretty much took like every major event and I started to like go over it and pretty much like type down like what my feelings were about it. So we have Katsura's fight, Sakamoto's fight, Gintoki's fight, Takasugi awakening again, and now the stuff with Kamui and Umibozu and Utsuro, right? So again, I liked Katsura's fight because you got an insight into like what his past was like, right? So, or well, his flashback, so to speak, was finally revealed. And I like this fight because Katsu really hasn't gotten a whole lot of spotlight in the series, and so at least like major spotlight. And so like this is the first time like we get some like major spotlight on him. So I like that. There's good characterization for him, and the fight was good too. I like Shokaku. I think he's an awesome character. Maybe not the deepest character, or whatever, but he's a fun character. He's a good character in my opinion. Only problem that I have with the fight is that it might have been a little too short. But besides that, I don't really have a problem with it. Okay. Then we go to Sakamoto's fight, okay? This one is just okay. While I thought Katsura's fight was pretty solid and good, this one is just okay to me. And that was also because like the length is too short for the fight, right? And the humor was okay, but now some of the characterization that we got with the Shogun about like how all of a sudden he's like sorry for like killing like all these people for rising to the top when he's talking with Sakamoto and he sees like the bonds and friendships between people. That again, like it was the same problem that I was talking about with Kamui and Kagura. Like what she told him when he was like, "Oh, you haven't grown any stronger at all." Like this is like no man, dude, no, fuck, dude, like you no, just. I hope like these are the only two times like this sort of stuff happens because Sorachi needs to go away from that. He needs you know what made like the whole thing with Gintoki and Takasugi and Shoei like that stuff all good. It was the focus on like themselves, like it was on Gintoki's self, how he had to how he did bear that pain, how he thought he did the right thing, and how he didn't look back and I hope that didn't fuck up my thing. And how he didn't regret that decision. He doesn't regret it. That's what people don't understand. He doesn't. This is a spoiler if you haven't. Well, the anime episode's already out, so. But the thing about the whole thing that was good was that he said that he would do it again, so he doesn't regret it, because he cares about Shoyo so much that he knows like what he wants to protect, right? So when you go back and then you look at like someone who's just been relentlessly killing like all this time, and then you go and try to like justify them as sort of like this, I was wrong all the time, especially when they were like savage killers, who knew what they were doing, like. In Nobunobu and with Kamui, like nah man, like don't do that. I mean if it was like Kenshin or something like that, like someone who was like young, inexperienced, didn't really know what he was doing, then I can buy that. But not with these characters. So that was bad, and then the art really started to take like a dip in quality, and that's another problem that I have with the art. The art. If you compare this to say something like what we saw in the Shogun Assassination arc, or the Baragaki arc. Or even like some of the comedic arcs, like with the love potion and all that. To me, in my opinion, I don't know what has been going on. Some of this stuff looks sketched. It doesn't look inked in. No G pen. Doesn't. I don't know what is going on, but it just does not look as professional as I expected to come from Sorachi. I don't know if that's I don't know if it's jump pressuring him to end it. I don't know. Like I don't know what it is, but I am not really pleased with that. I'm not really pleased with that, and I don't know what the reason is behind it, because to me like all these on Gintama feeling like things, all these art like what's the word I'm looking for? These lowered standards in the art and all that. I can't really think of a better phrase to use. Sorry, but like all those things, it feels too sudden. Like I don't know like why it's happening. And I don't know like what the cause of that is. The only thing that I can think of is like Jump is pressuring Gintama or Sorachi to end it as soon as possible, because Sorachi did say like it was entering its final arc or its final phase or whatever. It might end this year. We'll see. But I haven't really been paying attention to Gintama's rankings, so I don't know if it's like I think at one point like it was like number 10 or something. So it might be like ending soon because of that, and so he might be like rushing it. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, I'll talk about that a little more at the end. Then we go to Gintoki's fight, which I didn't think was very good at all, because you know what made people like Hosen and Jiraiya and Jirocho, like people like that, worthy villains, like really good villains. It was the fact that they were competitive, right? Action in anything, I think everyone would agree with me on this. It's only good when the stuff is competitive, right? Like when we go to like the Super Bowl in 2014, like Seahawks versus Broncos, like that, no one really gave a shit about that because I mean, yeah, it was dominating, we were in awe, but like it wasn't like as exciting because the Seattle beat the shit out of Denver, right? That's kind of like the same thing that's happening here. Like that fight was not competitive. Like it introduced this thing called the Jagan, which I'm glad Gintama finally made a Yu Yu Hakusho reference. Yes, I am so glad. Yes, two of my three favorite series. I was really happy about that. But the actual fight was not that good because the techniques, what it was trying to convey, the killing intent of Gintoki, which would have been beast in any other situation, but the idea of like all these like different after images, mental images attacking him, and that's how he wins, not very satisfying, especially for someone who Gintoki fought in the past, or well, Gintoki's fat person doppelganger, whatever you want, Bakayusa, right? He fought him, which personally I didn't really find funny either, and the whole stuff with like, yo, and then there's like this panel where Gintoki was like, yo, someone drew on your face. I didn't find that funny either. So like that whole thing was just not very good to me. Like I shit you not, the best thing that I found that I liked about that part was the Jagan Eye reference. I like that shit because I like Yu Yu Hakusho and I like Gintama, and it's two of my three favorite series, and one panel scenario, whatever you want to call it. But everything else, I just, oh my goodness, I couldn't stomach it. Then Takasugi wakes up, okay, and the problem isn't that Takasugi is going to join up with Gintoki. That is one like expected thing that is one thing that I expected to happen, right? I think everyone expected that to happen. Like they would fight Utsuro at the end or something, right? So I'm okay with that. Like that really isn't the problem for me. The problem for me was how Gintoki, they didn't forgive him, but Takasugi just seems as though like he had planned this all the time. And what I mean by that is like he knows about Utsuro, which to me is like a very big problem, because basically if he knew about Utsuro, and well, I gotta be careful how I say this. Okay, if I was Takasugi, right, and I realized that my foster parent had some sort of dark side to him, and he was like resisting that, okay, fine. I can understand like why I would be sad when he was killed, right? Okay, I get that, but it's just like, if you knew about Utsuro all this time, why didn't you say anything? You would think if you knew about like the being that's inside Shoyo, probably the strongest person that you've ever met, that you would say something. Why would you try to destroy the world? And see, this is like what was confusing me, because on one hand he's right. Utsuro has in a sense like shaped the world because he's the founder of the Naraku, right? They've worked behind the scenes to craft the government of the entire planet, basically, or at least of Edo, right? Okay, fine, I get that. Like, he's molded this world, right? Okay, he's part of the Tendoshu, so he's harvesting the Altana, right? Okay, fine. But why would you want to destroy it? Why would you want to destroy that? Everyone's peaceful. Everyone's living their lives. And of course, the government's obviously going to be corrupt, but why, like, do you remember, like, the first time Takasugi was introduced, or, like, one of the first times? I think it was the first time. He was like, I'm going to drag everyone on this planet with me down to hell. Why would you do that if you realized what was evil inside your master? That doesn't make much sense at all. I see that, like, again, that's another reason why I'm just not big on the Takasugi hype. I don't like revenge. First of all, I don't really like vengeance-filled characters, right? Especially ones that don't make sense, like Sasuke and how he tried to kill or destroy Konoha when it was everything to freaking Itachi, right? Great character in my opinion, but well, Itachi, not Sasuke. But this is like that. It's just nonsensical. Doesn't make any sense to me. And of course, he might not have known about the fact that okay, he has Altana, he can revive this and that, this and that. But it's just like how then it's like if you knew all that, then how did you even learn? If you knew like he had like this dark past, and he was the founder of the Naraku, right? Why would you then try to like? Why would you get like so vengeance filled to destroy the world? You know, I don't think I worded that correctly. Let me try that again. Hold on, wait. Sorry, like I'm thinking so much like I can't like really orate it properly, but it's just like okay. He knows about Utsuro, right? He knows like he's like this dark side and um that was Shoyo's past, and he probably and apparently like he said like in one of the previous chapters in this arc, when the four patriot or the four samurai started to fight together, he said that like he knew like he had some hand in like crafting the world, right? Okay, so if you know that, then why like how do I say this? I'm really trying my best to like articulate this, but see, I can't think of a good way to articulate this. Fuck, I can't articulate it. Shit. God damn, it's right on the tip of my tongue too. Fuck. So you knew about Mitsuru. Sorry, like this is taking so much. Like this is like completely like fucking with the video, but I don't care because like this needs to be said. But um, okay, yeah, okay. So you knew like he helped craft the world because he was part of the narco and he was part of the government, right? But then you also know that he's a split ego, right? Because he realizes that Shoyo was swallowed, quote unquote, by the darkness inside that man. So he's aware of the fact that Shoyo and Utsuro are split personalities, or some form of that, right? So why would you believe that then Shoyo is the quote unquote the real personality then? That was a fake, man. That's the point. Well, I don't know if I'd call it a fake, but it's a split personality, man. It's completely different. How are you going to kill Utsuro, someone who's basically immortal, which you may or may not have known, right? And then you get so sad when Gintoki kills him, when he's essentially like saving Shoyo from himself. Oh, it doesn't make any sense. Just is completely. So, someone has to remind me in the comments of like draining the planet of its Altana, if like that like kills off the civilization and all that. But like, see, and that's another thing. Like, if that's the case, then aren't you just like fulfilling the guy that you want to defeat, like his goal in the end anyway? That's the dumb part. Like why would you focus like all your attention like on the shogun and the government, which even though they are responsible. Don't get me wrong, Sada was still responsible, as we saw in the Courtesan of a Nation arc. But it's just like, shouldn't you be going after like the Tendoshu and the Harusame, or well now the Harusame Vegeta is doing, but why are you so focused on the Earth stuff, right? I mean, if you knew all that, shouldn't you know that like Mukuro Nobume was part of the Naraku and stuff like that, right? Like, well, shouldn't you be going after specifically the Tendoshu? That's just a thought, but yeah, that happens. Then the whole like I was saying, the whole generic stuff with them not destroying the cannons and looking away, and them not looking at explosions, that stuff. And now you got this bullshit with Kamui somehow being on, or Kagura somehow being on Kamui level and saying like, oh, that's not how you're supposed to be, Kamui. Oh, you're the one actually in pain. Are you, like, come on, man. I'm just bummed at that. Like when I read that part, I said before, like, I deflated. Like I it's just like, man, I can't take much more of this bullshit. Cause like I don't want that to happen, man. Like I don't. To me, that's just not good writing. It's generic, man. Like, and that's. It's not like generic is like necessarily bad. It's just not. It just doesn't feel like Gintama. That doesn't feel genuine, and that's the problem. Like, all this feels fake. Which leads me into my next point. I have this way out there theory, and again, it's just a theory. I don't believe it per se, but it's just this theory, this way out there theory. This entire arc is just being dreamt. It's just being dreamt by someone. It's just being dreamt by someone. And if that's the case, that will make the arc better. But it's probably unlikely. It's probably unlikely given Sorachi's comment. And I mean, if someone was to pull like the whole like, oh, this is some serious shit, right, and just call it a dream, it would be Sorachi, because he's like the ultimate troll and we love him for it. But something like that would make the arc better. And see, another problem with this was that Yumi Bozu versus Kabi was so short. It was so short. And then the dialogue. See, this is the problem that I had when the Farewell Shinsengumi stuff started happening, when Katsura and Kondo were fighting the Naruto members. Like, there's just like this need for some reason to make the dialogue like super over dramatic, like, oh, we're friends, or we can just go back to that time when we were friends. Oh, how was that? Oh, it was fucking dumb. Like, come on, man. Come on. You don't have to make like even a small line of dialogue, like when Shinpachi and Gintoki were on Sadaharu, and then they were like destroying like all the members. Shinpachi said something like, "Oh, we have to stop that family of monsters." Like, what? Why can't you just say them? Just say them. Like, it would flow so much more naturally, and just feel that more genuine. You know, I get it. Like, dialogue is super important to Gintama, especially to Gintama, and I've said it before. Like, in some of the previous arcs, it's probably had the best dialogue that I've ever read in a manga. Period. But now it's just feeling like gratuitous, superfluous. Like this, like it just feels tacky. That's what it feels like. It's like in any other situation, it would be good, but because it's like being so overused here, it just feels tacky. It just feels tacky. Like, too much of a good, like, you ever heard that expression, too much of a good thing is bad? I think that holds true here. I definitely think that holds true here. But yeah, this has been going for 30 minutes. I'm doing my super episode review, which unfortunately did not do much to lift my hopes up, as expected of Toei and their shitty animation, but some good shots here and there. Anyway, but yeah, that's my mid arc review, whatever you want to call it, chapter review. I really hope the mic didn't fuck this up, because I don't feel like recording this again, and if it did, you guys are just gonna have to live with the static. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm just disappointed. That's basically it. Hopefully, Utsuro versus Yumi Bozo will live up to the hype, because at this point I can just see it ending in like 1 or 2 chapters, honestly. But if it ends up being like a good like 5, 3, 4, 5 chapters, whatever, then well 4 or 5 chapters it should be. That's what I think. But if it ends up being that long, then we'll okay, fine. Like I'll lay off the arc a little bit. But until then, tell me what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Just say whatever you want. Freedom of speech, guys. Freedom of speech. I will see you guys in my next video, hopefully. Peace. Have a nice day. Make Gintama great.